This is your live, so I won't say and we're
So
live.
she's saying we're live. So, yo, what's up, Facebook Live? It's your boy, the Persistent Mitchell, sitting here with my girl. Her name has been, her email has been nickel and dime forever. So I just think that's kind of cool, because like we adding up change.
Yeah. It came from, because my middle name is Nicole, and I got called Nikki when I was a kid, and I didn't, so my grandma used to call us together, me and her together, nickel and dime. I didn't realize until later that she was calling me a nickel and herself a dime.
Yeah,
dime. So she
piece.
called me a 5 and she was a 10.
Without a doubt. So what compelled me, I was sitting here and I just was thinking, I wanted to do this live because I thought about that little boy. His name was Cannon Hanat, I think. Mm-hmm. And the little boy got shot in the head by the 5-year-old got shot in the head by the adult. And I was sitting there and I was playing with Ella last night, and she came in and she was so excited to show me her work from school. And I thought, I just couldn't imagine it. And then my next thought was, what if this little boy was black? Do you know what would have came? Oh, you ever turn it off? Oh, sorry. You know what would have came of that if that little boy was black? And the fact that he was a little white kid, it got no attention. You had to go and seek that information out. And that lets you know how divisive we are in the world, how calculated things are, how it's not important until it's important. It's not important until it's important.
Well, and you look at where the value of life is right now, because I think, because there has actually been a lot of young black children, infants that have been shot, and they haven't gotten
any
now
attention.
I think it's because they aren't shot by somebody that's a different color skin. But even that, I don't know that it gets the same. It's just, where are we holding the value of life today? And can I say? So I posted, about the media difference between Cannon's death and George Floyd's death. And my friend, who I love dearly, we do Bible study together, she DM'd me and said, this is not right. Every life is valuable. George Floyd, just because he had done these horrible things, he still died and his life was valuable. And I said, that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Is every life is valuable. George Floyd's life is valuable, but it is no more valuable than any others. Yet, as society and media and is George Floyd's life has been deemed more valuable and more representative than any other value, and that's wrong.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Hey, we don't get to choose how we go, but you got to admit, to some degree, and I'm not sugarcoating it or making it something small, but karma's a B. Mm-hmm. Hey, you put something in play in the universe, and it's not like a fire where you put your hand on the fire and it instantly burns you, so you know not to do that again. You put something in play in the universe, it's like that boomerang. It's going, and you forget about it. It's coming, and all of a sudden, it hits you. And you don't know what happened. You say, hey, well, why is it so bad for me right now? I can't believe this. I've been a good person. But you remember those 8 years ago when you put that energy out into the universe? It had to come back. It had to find home. So the thing is, like, I don't dismiss, what happened. Hey, that was a tragedy. But man, we done burned up America. We done took America to a whole nother level, which leads me into my next. So I said, right there. So it says, so why is America bad? I was just looking at something, and Trump was talking about the wall and how it's keeping out, because if you a good person, you can come to America. Mm-hmm. Like, you shouldn't have any reason to sneak over the wall if you're doing everything right, right?
Because you guys realize that we go back and forth to Mexico all the time, and all they want
is a passport.
Is your passport, and you can get a passport if you haven't broken any laws on either side. And if you have, then you can't. But if you are a law-abiding citizen in any country, you can get a passport
and go where you want
and come to America.
Easy enough. So the fact that people are tripping out about this wall, I told you, you do not run across people talking about, man, when I get to Bangladesh, when I get to Venezuela, when I get to Cuba, I can't wait to get into China. You don't hear them saying that. Hey, we got the greatest country in the world. And yet people, when did we get bad?
If we're so oppressive, why are so many immigrants trying to get in?
Yes, why are they trying to get here?
Why is the wall even a discussion if we're such an oppressive country?
Yes.
Why are people of every race, every color trying to get here? And the reality is we are the least oppressive. America is not perfect. We live in a world that has sin. We have imperfection. But America is an idea.
Yeah.
It's the idea. It's that goal. I always talk about goals are like magnets that pull you in a direction.
Through all the crap.
Our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, we don't live by it perfectly, but it's a goal. It's a magnet that's pulling the people of this country in the right direction.
And what's crazy, we got so spoiled here, and we think, hey, you can't say this, you can't do that, and it all should be, because here's the thing, the opportunity is there for everybody. People are looking for equal outcomes. Mm-hmm. They want the same outcome, but you don't deserve the same outcome. Mm-hmm. See, you see my shirt, you don't deserve the same outcome. No. You don't. If you haven't put in the work. Like I told you, like I said in a live, LeBron James used to tell the freaking truth. Mm-hmm. No one put him as the best player in the world. He had to work his butt off to get there. Yeah. And people seem like they forget, like, oh no, well, it's oppressive and they doing this. Hey, like I said, oppression is if you out trying to do something and then someone tells you you can't do it because you're a particular color, that's oppressive.
Here's the thing, is oppression if there is a position or there is a place that you cannot get to in this country because of your race, your gender, your whatever, then there's oppression. But the reality is almost every position in this country has been held by a person of color, somebody that's a different gender. That means it's possible. That means there is not a law in place to prevent you from being there. And to say, well, it's harder for me to get there. How do you know somebody else is hard? Because here's the reality. Us as people generally hide our hardships. That's the whole thing of social media is we all put our best out there. We all put the highlights. We don't put our yuck. We don't put our challenges. And to think that you know somebody else's challenge, and here's the reality is we both have had the benefit of seeing both sides. His family's really messy, but guess what? My family's really messy too. His family could be a drama series, so could my family. There is ugliness, and the fact that we can say that something that happened 200 years ago, there's this white privilege. I'm sorry, the only privilege that we have is we have privilege being sons and daughters of the Most High God. Mm-hmm. That's the only and He deems our blessings. And it isn't always fair. What do you tell your kids when your kids say, well, that's not fair? You know, Brianna says, that's not fair. X gets this. Well, life isn't fair. And it isn't always, you all have the same opportunity, but it's not always going to be the same outcome. And sometimes the outcome is going to be unfair, but that is life. That is reality. That's the reality. And people selling a false utopia, they're selling a false utopia and they're lying. And they're doing it on the backs of people. If you tell somebody their whole life they're oppressed and they can't do anything, guess what they're going to do? They're not going to try.
Like you say, hey, I get what you're saying, but hey, dial back your dreams, buddy, because you got this. Dial back your dreams because you can't get there. It's impossible for you as who you are to achieve that level. You get it? People just won't even try. People won't even give it a shot. Won't even take the effort to do it. Like, I find that I win off my effort. My work ethic started with my first job. I guess I had it before. I used to sweep. I've told you guys, I used to sweep that apartment, hey, like it was mine. I would clean it up, and it would be just as dirty as it was the previous day when we came out the next day, because nobody cared. But it didn't matter to me because I had a work ethic about me, and I find that this carried me in my life. And I never ever thought about. I read the thing, the Jason Whitlock thing, and he says, what it is, we've been controlled by fear. Like, people are so afraid of dying that they're not living. And the fear, hey, it can manipulate you to do things and see things and believe things that ain't even so. I was going to piggyback on what you said. So Brianna's how she said, well, things are not fair. But if she hadn't seen the whole story, it might appear that way to her. So say if she had a snack earlier or something, and we don't want to give our kids too many snacks in a day, and then our son, he didn't have one, so maybe he had one in front of her. She said, well, that's not fair. But in actuality, it was fair, but how it appeared to her wasn't fair. Like, and you know what I'm saying?
Or you even go beyond. So we have now become a country of a bunch of children. So I'll use another example. So we had to make the tough decision for our kids to switch schools. X and Ella, they're younger. They're like cool, new friends. Brianna was heartbroken, and I understood. She was in 6th grade. She had started at her home school.
Tell them why you understood, because you switched schools.
Because I had to switch schools a lot when I was a kid. My parents moved all the time, and so that was something that was important to me, that our kids, they were born in this house, they're going to grow up in this house, and we've talked about, oh, maybe we need a bigger house, maybe we should move. And I'm like, no, this is our home. There's some value in this being the home that they were born and raised in. So I get that, and he knows me. I don't like, when there's something comfortable, I don't like change. And so we have Brianna, she started at her school actually in pre-K. A lot of her friends she's known since pre-K. I think there's only like a couple of her friends that she met after kindergarten. So this whole group, and she's in the popular crowd, and she's like, they were so excited to be big man on campus as 6th graders. Like, it's the rite of passage, and she felt like it was being stolen from her. But we knew, unfortunately, she wasn't going to get that anyway. Her school wasn't opening. They were going to be online, and I know my kids, and I know more screen time makes them act erratic, makes them get depressed, makes them act, they are more reactive to negative things. And so we knew so we searched for an option for in-person, and we found a school. And up until the night before, she literally got so upset, like so angry, temper tantrum, fell asleep at 7:15. This is my child that stays up all night long. Fell asleep. She was so up, cried herself to sleep because she didn't want to go. The next morning, she went. I picked her up. I picked them all up. And they had the biggest smiles. And she was so happy. And she was so excited. And I did not do the I told you so. I didn't even have that in me.
What did you do?
I cried. I cried because it was hard for me. And she didn't know it was hard for me. She just thought we were being mean parents. She thought that I was forcing something on her that would be bad. She took this challenge that was before her, this obstacle, as something unfair, and didn't realize that when you play it all through, it actually was for her good. And how much are we being told by this utopian society that we can avoid obstacles, we can avoid well, guess what,
that's what makes you strong.
It's what makes you strong. And sometimes in avoiding the obstacle, you avoid the biggest blessings in your life. So you're telling a whole society to avoid the obstacle, avoid the challenge, and everything's just should go smooth and perfect. And guess what? We're going to have a retarded society. We're going to have people that haven't grown, that haven't become better and bigger people.
You got to burn the weakness out. Sometime, the best gift, and I got to use this. So I had a thing at work, and this guy, he wanted a particular vehicle. And when I closed the deal, I felt so guilty about closing the deal because I knew it wasn't the best option for him. So when we did everything and the bank said no, I felt such relief. And the fact that he knew that I was taking care of him, even though I wasn't talking the language he wanted to hear, You know who he reached out to the next day? Me. And he said, well, you know what? Tell me what I need to do. And he allowed me to lead him down the process. But it took me standing up to him in a certain way for him to know that I cared about him. It was kind of crazy, but it was like it was such an awesome experience. The first time I got on the phone, I said, hey, unanswered prayers is a blessing, just to let you know. And he said, hey, I dig you, man. So let's jump, because we don't want to be here too long. So my next one is Cardi B. So I saw the Cardi B interview. My gosh, where are we at? Where are we at? What you want, Cardi B? I want President Trump out. I mean, well, give us something more. I want free everything. Well, don't y'all know free is the worst word in the English language? You hear free, you need to run because it's got some strings attached to it. Hey, I remember I told you last night, I said, look, when I was growing up and we had drugs was going on and the government was funding it, and all I kept on thinking is, when is somebody going to come and say, where the money going?
Like, where
when is somebody going to come and say, well, hey, what y'all doing with this money we giving y'all? It never happened, and it's destructive, and it's still showing itself to this day. It's one of those things that's still been hard, and people don't understand that you don't want free.
It's destroying, again, it's retarding the growth of our whole society. It's retarding the growth of whole groups of people that are oppressed. No, what's oppressing them is retarding the growth, not allowing people to grow so that they can become better. And how are they going to put somebody up as a representative? That is so offensive to me. Like, the representative of the black community is somebody that's a stripper that raps about degrading women, about being a prostitute.
WAP just came out, so what kind of timing was that? Think about WAP came out, and then she's with the president,
and it's as a representative of the black community. Like,
what?
Like, she is who she is.
Joe Biden, stop it.
That is not the that should not be the representative of the black community. They are intelligent, successful not off of the degradation of the black community. That's my problem. Is if your success is built on the degradation of the black community. The problem. And you go back to, why is LeBron James not standing up and saying, this is how you do it and it's possible? Why isn't Oprah Winfrey is now jumped on that, and she's made literally billions off of white people in love with her.
Middle-aged white women.
In love with her. And she's standing up now saying there's oppression, instead of saying, no, this is possible and this is how I worked my way from nothing, from literally nothing. The fact that we stand here and we're in the position we're in, and neither one of us came from privilege. And you might think, because the color of my skin, I do automatically. If I could tell you my story, and if any of you want to know my story, PM me, and I'll tell you my story. I'll tell you the story of my family, and it is not pretty. And it is not all, there's a lot of love, but there's a lot of mess.
Tell you, hey, we love our country. Hey, I'm so proud to be an American right now. And believe it or not, I never had thought about it. I took it for granted, like I'm sure a lot of people do. But I'm so proud to be an American because we got freedoms that other countries don't have. Yeah. That's why they're trying to come over here. And then you guys trying to shoot down our president, and he's doing the best job. He's probably the best president ever. And people are too blind to see that right now because they're not understanding. They're just saying, I had somebody hit me up yesterday and gave me no reason on why she didn't like it, except the fact that I was black and she was black. And she couldn't believe me. What? Get out of here. So with that being said, we're going to get off here, and we always finish with a prayer. Our Father in heaven, we come to you today and say thank you. I hope these words hit the right ears. And if you're catching this later, my prayers are with you as well. I know that we are in a tough time. And it's important to know that God has our back. He is dependable. When all else fails, God has our back. I just ask that you continue to bless us with your will and allow us to move forward, and bless all the people that we come in contact with, and bless the world. And this we say, amen. It's your boy, the Persistent Mitchell, and Nickel and Dime, and we out this joker. Peace out.